The Honourable Hiki Parata.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Chair, o tira tēnā tātou katoa I roto I te whare I tēnei pō. I'm delighted to stand and make a contribution in this financial review debate and under the theme of services to citizens, and in so doing assure the anxious opposition that we remain both ambitious and accountable. We have a set of 10 better public service targets that are well known to the public, that hold us accountable every 6 months as to what this government is doing across a range of public services that are all about the quality of citizenship that New Zealanders can enjoy under this government. Predictably and appropriately, I'm going to speak in particular about education and the very significant contribution that all of us know this makes to the quality of life that we lead as individuals and therefore our families and communities and ultimately our country, this great nation of Aotearoa New Zealand, can lead. And the story in education is a very good one. Kids are starting earlier, staying longer and leaving better qualified, and that's in every ethnicity, and I will be very pleased to talk about the particular achievements that are occurring in and by both the Pacifica communities and Māori, as well as, of course, Pākehā, Asian, all of those who make New Zealand their home and participate in our education system. And that is as much because our government has invested the most ever into education, demonstrating that we put money where our mouths are, and in this case in education in the past year, that's been over $10 billion has gone into both early childhood and secondary schooling. We have seen early childhood education when we came into government, just to remind us of the stark contrast between the opposition when they left government and where we are now. 800 million was what the Labor government, was... How ungracious the Member of Parliament is, Sue Moroney. I'm not choking on it. What was happening under her government was that early childhood education was 800 million. Under ours, it's forecast to be just under 1.6, just nearly doubling that investment, as well as attending to quality. And let me just tell the member, if she was of a mind to actually listen, is that of the 1,500 reviews undertaken by ERO into the quality of early childhood education provision between 2013 and this year, only 12 were found to be failing, less than 1%. So jumping on this ridiculous bandwagon that we have sacrificed quality for participation is not supported by the evidence, but I accept that the opposition is not in very close relationship with evidence. We've also increased spending on special education. Again, when we came into government in 2007-8, the spending was 414 million. It's now 530 million, and that is supporting 80 to 100,000 young New Zealanders who have special education needs. Kids are starting earlier, and that is because we are really focused on how young people get the best start in education. We know if they start behind, too often they stay behind, and so we've been focused throughout the system, and there is a great story to tell in early education, and it's a pity that the opposition doesn't have the grace to celebrate that strong start for our youngest learners. Kids are staying longer and leaving better qualified. Here's a statistic for the opposition. When we came into government in 2008, Māori students were leaving with the minimum qualification of NCEA 2 at a rate of 44%. That's what the opposition hang their hats on as being the quality of commitment they made to education. Less than half of all Māori students were leaving with our minimum qualification. Pacifica students were doing slightly better at 51%. How the opposition can sit there and say what a proud record they have in education, again, is disputed by the facts. Under this government, we have had on average a 20% lift by both those populations, and that is great credit to those students, to their families, whānau, ainga, and to the New Zealand education education system and to the relentlessness of this government that understands that a quality education just gives young people more choices than they would otherwise have. So we now have Māori, Mr.
Honourable
Chair,
Hiki Parata.
we now have Māori achievement at over 63%. That is much better, not good enough, and we're focused on lifting it even further. That is ambition. Pacifica have responded extremely well to the initiatives that we have embraced together with churches, with community groups, with sports clubs. It's now up at 72% and climbing under this government. And so the opposition does need to take note that this is occurring throughout the system, and that means that more young people are able to get into trades through the vocational education pathways that we've made available, through working with industry, through working with industry training organisations, through working with businesses and employers to understand what skills they want from kids and then delivering those through the education system. And again, we are seeing significant uptake by Māori and Pacifica and all New Zealand kids, and that's why we are seeing the lift in NCEA too. We're seeing them staying at school longer. In fact, 82% of our 17-year-olds have stayed at school in 2014. That's great because we know from the evidence the longer kids stay at school, the more likely they are able to leave with a great education. We've got higher confidence in education than we've ever had. UMR in their Mood of the Nation, as one indicator, said that since they began this series, education is at the highest it has ever been. That's because we are a transparent government and we are reporting to them at primary school through national standards every 6 months, and we have developed a public achievement framework that lets parents know exactly what's happening with their children every year in every school. Because the more informed parents are, the more they can demand of us. The more they demand of us, the more we lift our performance, because that's the kind of government we are. In Rotorua on Wednesday, I was pleased to announce, as I indicated in the House this afternoon, that we now have a further 29 communities of schools, and in total, a further 18, bringing it to a total of 29, which is 85,000 students now involved in these communities, which is where we are investing to lift the quality of teaching and of leadership. We passed legislation this year to establish the Education Council of Aotearoa New Zealand, a professional body that will be focused on meeting the needs of the profession and, again, on joining us in this crusade to raise the quality of teaching and leadership, so that will in turn raise the prospects of a great education for each and every one of our young people. We've invested in a teacher-led innovation fund of $10 million, which was significantly well subscribed, because we do understand that teachers know best by working together what will make a difference, and we again have put our money where our mouths are and supported that. We are building a nimble and responsive and modern 21st century education system. Not only are we investing in better property, but we are, as I've indicated, investing in better initiatives that support learning. We're in danger of seeing an even greater outbreak of achievement, and isn't that great for New Zealand, for our country, for families, for our participation in the global stage? I want to take the opportunity of acknowledging at this time, having done so, not only the schools, their governors, their boards, the parents and the kids themselves, who are absolutely at the core of our education system, and we completely understand that, but I also want to acknowledge how well the agencies within government are working together. The Ministry of Education, the Education Review Office, the New Zealand Qualifications Authority, the Tertiary Education Commission, all of them understand that there is a pathway from naught through to university and postgraduate studies, wherein every year a difference has to be made in order for our young people to attain the kinds of qualifications they're looking forward, so that they can contribute to a more meaningful life for themselves and for their families. Those agencies understand that they are here to serve the education sector. They are here to ensure that the better public service targets that our government has committed to can be delivered, because it's all about the quality of of citizenship. Mr Chair, we've just spent the weekend in commemorative services for Anzac. Now, Anzac is a significant symbolic event of the contribution and sacrifice that citizens have made on behalf of our country. There is no bigger sacrifice than the sacrifice of one's life, and our Defence Forces have fought in wars and managed peace and conflict all around the world, and they've done so from a small nation here in the middle, the heart of the Pacific. They've done so because they've understood what the quality of citizenship means at one end of the spectrum. Education is at the other end, as well as the housing, social development, health and other issues that will be covered in tonight's debate. Mr Chair.
Call Derek Ball.